What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast, all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics and Discover Dunwoody. Today, Tommy Burda is here. Tommy, you were the first on-location interview that we ever did back in 2018. It was early 2018. And I remember Hayward Westcott we talked to him. So when we started the podcast, we didn't know what we were doing, me and Justin. And Hayward kind of asked us to meet up with him. I think we went out to dinner with him or something. And he said, well, here's what I think you should do. I'll introduce you to all these different people. And Tommy, you were the top of his list. And so it was episode 6. I just re-listened to that episode. It was actually really funny because my wife walked in and said, are you listening to your own podcast? I was like, well, yeah, but I just wanted to get a refresh on Tommy.
What do you think, though?
Yes, exactly. So Moondog's Growlers, Moondog's Pub and Grub. What do you want to talk about today? You guys have started in Dunwoody, had a strong brand in Dunwoody. You've kind of branched out into Chamblee.
Yeah. We purchased it actually July 1 will be 8 years ago. And actually this weekend is our 13th or the store's 13th anniversary.
Yeah.
So we've been in Dunwoody for 13 years, 8 of those we've owned it. And the reason why we bought it, and I think I mentioned this with Justin back years ago, I was going there as a customer and never had a moment where I didn't feel comfortable and people were talking and friendly. And, I got regulars. I'll throw out a name out there, Paul Holder. If Paul Holder thinks that you're new to the location, I've never seen a guy buy more beer for a person just to make them feel comfortable. Right.
Yeah.
So that whole vibe and feeling of everything, it just made me really enjoy the place.
Yeah.
And so we bought it. And I can honestly say I've never had a bad day being associated with it. Some days are better than others, but overall it was great. So we knew we kind of liked it. And we also understood replicating it would be a little bit challenging. You really can't grow that model very big. There's only so much craft beer you can sell.
Right.
Without food. So as much as I swore I would never go into the restaurant business, and I probably said that for 6 or 7 years, I was always looking for a space in a particular location or locations. Happened to be driving through Chamblee, got stuck in traffic, looked to my right, and I saw this building, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Kind of just a blank building that needed some love. And ironically, it was being brokered by a neighbor of mine.
Wow.
So I called up Jeff and I was like, hey man, I see your name out here, your number out here. So we talked and, kind of, it took a little bit of time. I had to meet with Chamblee and stuff like that. So, we went down the road that I swore we would never go down.
Yeah.
But actually at the same time was preparing myself for it. So yeah, we started the process in 2022 with the city of Chamblee and got through the permitting and got the building open. So we opened up, which is actually the worst time you can open a restaurant, which is literally Thanksgiving, right? Because you're in the holiday season and then you've got dry January and people are starting to come out of their, commitments in maybe March. And so, yeah, for the first 3 or 4 months, it was interesting because you knew you weren't. Yeah. It was, we had hoped to start up. Honestly, we had hoped to open up in around May of that year, but unfortunately didn't get a permit till then. So, yeah, so it wasn't exactly as planned. But we are excited about it. We're trying to build the same atmosphere. We're trying to have the same brand, if you will, which is a comfortable, welcoming place, a place where people can just relax and hang out.
Yeah.
And we've got food and a full bar.
Yeah. And dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
You let dogs in this one?
Yeah, we got a patio out back, which is specifically out there for dogs and some, summertime and springtime viewing. But yeah, we've got a pretty decent sized patio, about 600 something square feet. And we actually not every Saturday, but just about every Saturday, we do a dog adoption event with Lifeline. And we actually, anybody that will adopt a dog, we will give them a $50 gift certificate to Moondog Pub and Grub.
Oh, good for you. Good job, Tommy.
Yeah, we have 4 rescue dogs, so it's near and dear to our heart, and we just happen to always be kind of involved in that rescue world. And somebody asked us about if we'd be willing to do it. We thought it was a great idea, and we've had some.
That's really cool. Dunwoody just actually, did you see that ordinance where they don't allow pet stores anymore? So
I did not.
Yeah, the government actually stepped in, and there was that pet land that was over that people would always talk about, and that was the
Is that the one?
what everybody saw as the problem, and so they took an into that. You're allowed to have stuff like what you're talking about, where it's like adoption type of places, but other than that, yeah, you can't sell dogs in the city.
And that needs to be. I'm not going to criticize anybody because I know people have allergies and stuff like that, but there are enough dogs out there that need a home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust me.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. That's a neat add-on there. So you opened 2024. Are you happy you did it? Or what's the food been like?
It's been a learning experience. A couple of things. There's some stuff that we did that I wanted to do that was a little different, like cheese curds. I'd been up to Green Bay not too long ago for a Packers game, and I was like, these things are awesome.
Yeah.
We put cheese curds on the menu. We put some fried pickles, which isn't typical. We've got some other stuff in there that we put on the menu. But it's really bar food, but we try to do it really well. We chose. We didn't choose the cheapest products. Most of our stuff is taken care of on site. You know what I'm saying? Like we chop up our own chickens and stuff. Obviously dead. But we get our chickens in and we process them in house and stuff like that. So, we tried to do things as well as we could, but also trying to keep everything as affordable as we could too. Yeah. And, we, like everything else, we make mistakes, but we've expanded some stuff. We started out with a menu and we actually pared that down a little bit in April. To a little bit more specific stuff. But at the same time, this past two Saturdays ago, we added we had prime rib Saturday. So we offer fresh cut prime rib. We start roasting it on Fridays and get it ready. And so we've got prime rib on Saturday at a special. And then on Sunday, we actually now have a Sunday brunch. So we have a full brunch menu. So, it's interesting to do this for the first time because you think everything's going to work in a way. You know what I'm saying? You just assume if I like it, that's the way it's going to go. But then when your sales will tell you, well, this isn't working or that isn't right. So you try and fix that.
Absolutely. My favorite pizza. So I own a restaurant. My favorite pizza that we make, nobody will buy it.
Yeah.
The beer cheese pizza. And I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. I tell everybody about it. Nobody orders it. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we got to take it off the menu.
Well, and that's what it is, right? I mean, you think about your own likes and dislikes, and then you realize, that everybody's different. So it's been a learning experience. We've relied on our folks who do have the true restaurant experience to kind of give us some guidance. So like, for the example, on the brunch menu, I just told, we got a couple of key people, our lead guy in the kitchen, Luis, our GM, David, and kind of our assistant GM, Corey. You guys put this menu together. What do you want? What do you think works? And they did a great job. Right. So they put a drink menu together. They put a food menu together for brunch. And I think they hit it out of the park. Now just getting the word out there. But so you rely on the folks that you hire because you hired them for a reason, because you realize, I'm a contractor. I don't really obviously eat too much, but that doesn't make me a culinary expert.
I know I want cheese curds. You take care of it.
That's exactly that. So it's funny you say that because my original GM was gonna, and I told him when you make the fried pickles, I don't want a ton of batter, and I don't have many opinions on a lot of stuff, but I was like, I want to taste the pickle, and got several compliments on people, and of course, there's always gonna be some people that don't like that, but most people are like, I like it because I like to taste the pickle. So I was like, that's it. I told him that's the extent of my
as far as I go.
Input.
That's awesome. And you guys are right there on the rail trail, right? Isn't it like the backside?
We are.
So if you're standing like at Lowe's over by the Whole Foods, or it's kind of you're located behind the Whole Foods, right?
That is correct. So Peachtree Road splits at the gas station, just if you're coming north, before Whole Foods and stuff. And if you stay right, that's Peachtree Road. Okay. If you go left, that would be what they used to call Peachtree Industrial. So if you stay right, you go behind the Whole Foods, and you come past the first stop sign, and we're on the right just before the bridge. And Davin's Ceramic has been there. They're kind of a staple of Chamblee. So we're right across from Davin's Ceramic and Downing's, which, believe it or not, was an interesting tidbit, which I found out. Mr. Downing, who still works there at Downing's, is a NASCAR guy. And him and his brother are actually the designers of the head restraint system that is used in all NASCAR now. And he told me that from 1985 to 2000, I think in one, he sold, I forget how many of these restraints. Nobody wanted to buy them. When
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt was killed at Daytona, the next week he sold more in 1 week than he had sold in the previous 15 years. And
Wow.
by everybody. Mr. Downing's a great man. He's got to speak with him, got an amazing shop there. So a little bit of
Yeah.
tip about didn't know anything about it.
Well, that's cool. Well, I think it's amazing that you've kind of done what you did in Dunwoody and moved it over to Chamblee. You can't grow much where you are in Dunwoody. I don't know if everybody knows exactly where Moondog Growlers is, but it's right there. It was at Nandina, like right up on the hill there. And it's just a small footprint. You guys have done a great job with what you've done. There's like board games everywhere. And I feel like everybody that goes in there feels like it's a friendly vibe. You know, it's like a Cheers without liquor shots, I guess.
That is what we've always experienced, and we hope to, continue.
Yeah. And you've got that same vibe over there in Chamblee. That's really cool. That rail trail area is amazing.
Right.
And so I hope that it kind of goes down as far as you are. They need to do stuff on either end of it and kind of connect it. But that's a really cool area.
Great job of promoting a walkable city, even though it doesn't appear to be that. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of, but they've done a great job of connecting stuff. And even you can go under Peachtree Road Peachtree Boulevard and end up in, I think it's Keswick Village subdivision. And I got so many people. I love it. We've got a place where you can put your bikes. We've got families come, families of 4 come and ride under there and come over and have lunch and go back out. So,
you never have to get on the main road.
It's great. people love it. I mean, I would love to be there too. It's great.
Yeah, I had Van Pappas on the podcast a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how different Chamblee's development was compared to Dunwoody's development, where, Chamblee's a bunch of apartments, a lot of walkability and that kind of thing. And Dunwoody would never do that, but it's worked for both cities. I think it's that what Chamblee's done is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different plans, right? I mean, as long as you think them out well and then accommodate them or facilitate them, then either one can work. But Chamblee's done a great job. And I think I told you this before, my wife went around to some of the apartments, we're giving away, not giving away, new tenants. We give them a discount card for them to come in. And she told me, she says, it's like a 5-star resort in there, the amenities they have. Yeah. So again, doing something and then doing it right is the important part. And they've done that.
Yeah. And I love that you're jumping into the community over there too, introducing yourself to the new people. Cause I know that you guys do a great job in Dunwoody of supporting. I mean, I think you were at Dunwoody North. I don't know if you personally were there, but at Dunwoody North earlier this week, we had a swim meet and you guys were out in the parking lot.
I was actually, we had 3 of them on the same day.
Oh, so yeah.
I'm not good at I'm not a good beer tender, but I ended up in Mill Glen.
Okay.
That was at the rain day.
Yeah. All of them got rained out.
Yeah. So Mill Glen and Dunwoody North, and I don't want to miss anybody, but all those neighborhoods have been fantastic to us. We enjoy, we've met, like I said, we've met so many great people. It's kind of funny. The first time I owned Moondogs a short time, and a guy named Kevin Heiler, who's a regular at Moondogs, who's become a friend of mine. We were out at some restaurant, and he looks over and he goes, "You're the Moondog guy," and and that is great. And I thought that was kind of funny, but those relationships have built through the years, and like I said, I've met some great folks, and we've been blessed.
Well, what do you got coming up? What's going to be new at Chamblee?
Well, we've got a few things coming up. So right now, and we've every other Monday we have an open mic night. Okay, that's by Tom Carter, who's actually a Dunwoody guy. Tom also does some stuff over at Barn with David Abus and stuff like that. So Tom comes every other Monday night and does open mic, does a great job. Every Tuesday night we have team trivia. That starts at 7:00. So that has picked up a pretty good following. You get a good following when you have competing names for neighborhoods and teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wednesday night we are blessed to have the Mike Veal band. Mike has been has had a band for I think 22 years now around Atlanta. He used to be at Tin Lizzie's over in the Decatur area, and they were bought out or shut down. So he did some scouting unbeknownst to us and came to us and asked if he could perform there. Mike is extremely well known
Yeah.
around the local area and just puts on a great show. So we're blessed to have him. And then Friday nights, we always have music every Friday night. It's a revolving door of people we have. And then Saturday, we are starting our music bingo, which we
fun.
have been encouraged to do that with numerous people. So we're starting music bingo, which will be at 7:00 on Saturdays. And like I said, Saturday is also prime rib night. Sunday, we now have a brunch. And quite frankly, what we're gearing up for, we're starting two other things. One of them is a bourbon club. So if anybody's been in Moondogs and you look at the bar, I am a bourbon guy.
Yeah.
There is a lot of high-end bourbon up there that's available, but I enjoy bourbon. So we've partnered up with a couple of our distributors, and third Thursday of every week, we are going to have a bourbon club where we have a distributor come in and offer tastings of 3 or 4 different bourbons. Someone will be there from with knowledge of the bourbon, and they'll basically give a little kind of master class on the differences, how it's distilled, and those kind of things. We'll have a food pairing with it, so you can make reservations online. It'll be starting here in a week or so, starting in July. And it'll continue every third Thursday.
Okay.
And the intention is just to get some folks together that enjoy bourbon, some folks that want to kind of have mutual conversations about it. So we're looking forward to that coming up. And then, right now we're trying to figure out how we're going to get everything working for, quite frankly, football season. We're in the South.
It's a heavy time for a bar.
It is. So, we've got TVs now, 3 or 4, actually 5 technically. We're going to add one to the patio and also probably get an outdoor one where we can set up something on the Norfolk Southern property to kind of big old blow up projector.
Okay.
Yeah, we're prepping for college football and pro football coming up. You're in the South. If you don't do it, you're in trouble.
That's the big one. Yeah. So, going from construction into, I guess you're still in construction, but, doing this restaurant, is this kind of, a dream of yours? Like, well, how does Felicia feel about this? How does your wife feel about this?
First of all, it was never a dream of mine.
No.
It's something that I kind of just worked my way into.
Yeah.
I like business, right? So I enjoy objects of business, whether it's construction or anything. So with that being said, this is just another business form. Although I do like some of again, it's relational, right? You get out there and you meet people, talk to people, you make friends that you never would have met before. So my wife is really the backbone to everything, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
She doesn't seek any credit, but at the end of the day, if I'm being honest, the best way to put it is I get us into these things.
Right.
And then she keeps us in those things.
She's the one I'm communicating with for sure.
And she is my wife's an incredible woman, incredibly brave because, we're married and she puts up with me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And we've had to have some heart to heart. There's a couple of things I was like, hey, let's do this. And she's like, no. But overall, she really runs everything. She is the person that, if you email about an event or call, she's the one that's going to be there. She does our social media stuff like that. So her, in conjunction with David, the GM, and Corey, who's kind of our assistant GM, they're the backbone, the brains behind it. Even though it was my idea, I'd be a fool to say that 90% of it that's done with it is done outside of me. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good way of owning a business, though, for sure.
Well, yeah. And my wife is incredibly smart and she's good with people, and therefore she's better quality.
She's in charge.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Well, it seems like from what Van said that you're quite the splash in Chamblee. So congratulations on that. And I love what you did with Moondogs and just in continuing to make that a real homey place, And so I'm sure you did the same thing in Chamblee. I got to get by there.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks a lot, Tommy.
Matt, thanks for having me on.
Yep.